Big Jet TV. Hey folks, good evening, good morning if you're in Los Angeles, and good afternoon if you're in Sydney, I think. Anyway, how are you guys doing? Hope you've had a great week. It is the end of the week, of course, and you're watching Big Jet TV. Just a little piece from the studio, just to give you guys an update on where we're going to be this weekend. But before we get to that, let's just sort of like round things up if they have been. Of course, hoping that all of our crew members have now acclimatized, all those guys in the UK, of course, and Europe have acclimatized to the new timings, because of course a lot of you guys, we saw from the streams, a lot of you guys stayed up real late and right through into the early hours in the UK, waiting for us to go live, and also staying with us throughout the streams. So we're really grateful for that, because it's great to have your support, the wonderful support, and of course backed up with all of that was the fantastic feedback that we've had from you guys, both via email and also posts on the crew room itself. As well as everybody, people on LinkedIn, on Twitter, all of you guys, we really, really appreciate all the fantastic feedback, because it just makes us feel so much better that you guys are enjoying what we're bringing for you. So it's a real one-to-one as well. So really enjoying your feedback, and don't stop sending that, guys. You just keep on sending that, because we really appreciate it. One thing we did do, if you remember, when we were in LA, we went to a restaurant. It's like an aviation themed restaurant called the Proud Bird Restaurant. You can look it up. It is on Google, proudbirdrestaurant.com, I think it is. But you can see it on the end of this little piece that I put together for the guys at Proud Bird. And if you're ever traveling out to LA, make sure that this is one place that you visit. It's literally a $5 ride in an Uber, straight down Aviation Boulevard, straight to the Proud Bird, and it kind of it's right by the threshold for the southern runways. I think that's runway 24 left and 24 right. Of course, the great thing with LAX is they have 4 runways in total operating, 2 runways on the south side, 2 runways on the north side, and these 2 runways are operational for both departures and arrivals. It's kind of random depending upon the traffic, but the great thing is that with this southern runway at Proud Bird, right slap bang next to it is the cargo hub. So in the evening, if you catch it right, you get all the FedEx MD-11s, even FedEx MD-10s, China 747s, Korean 747s, all the Dash 8 747s, and as well as the 400s, all big freighters, Kalitas. Fantastic stuff to see there. As well as that, obviously they have a great restaurant there, all the facilities that you need, and you can have a beer with your friends, you can sit outside with the barbecues, just everything to do there. If you're going there with the kids, you can take the kids there, it's kid friendly, and they'd love to welcome you there as well. So Julie, do you want to run that VT and we'll just have a look at this? So there you go, folks. Wow, what a fantastic place that is. A bit like the airport pub up at Manchester, but just a bit larger, really, in terms of their cuisine and everything that they do. Obviously, they hold special events there as well, but just for anyone visiting there, it is a fantastic place to visit. And of course, every day is more or less the same in Los Angeles. Even if it's cloudy, it's relatively warm. There's a lovely sea breeze coming off the sea, so it's not overly hot. You don't get baked like you do inland. So a great place to visit, as is LAX as well, up on Westchester, up on Imperial Hill, of course, and out at the famous In-N-Out Burger as well. Don't know why I'm pointing that way, but it's a fantastic place to visit. But there you go. So also, just a little one, just to say, and I know I've mentioned this on the last show, and this is the last time I mentioned it. I just wanted to say a big shout out to everybody who's sent in additional extra donations. We really didn't expect that, folks, and your monthly contributions are honestly enough. You don't need to do that, but what you have sent in has obviously been transferred straight over to the travel budget, and we really appreciate that. So that will go straight towards either China or we're looking at Seattle, either one of those two for the next trip, and we'll bring that announcement to you next week. So again, thanks a lot, really appreciate that. Just a quick one. Anyone seen the new 100-year celebration KLM advert for the retro stuff? I think that's pretty cool, actually. They should have shown the retro jet in that as well, because their 321 is a really decent looking retro jet. I don't know why they didn't do that, but anyway, there you go. Maybe they didn't have space. So Euro shows, I know we're doing international and Euro shows now, so the next European show is this month, and of course this is only for paying members, for you guys in the crew room. The next one is going to be on the 21st. I'm actually going out there on the 20th. Flying out there for the Sunday just to give myself, acclimatise myself and get myself some good viewing positions to bring you crew members some plane spotting on the Sunday, and then on the Monday meeting up with the guys at the freight hub at Milan Malpensa, and bringing you some real good quality freight hub activity. Again, that's exclusive to you guys. We'll only be putting out the post-production edit for that at a later date, which will be sort of like a very cut down version of it. And really, like we say, is nothing like live, you know, being there airside with us. TAM Brazil, as you know, they have a new liveried aircraft out, 777-300ER. A lot of people are obviously very interested in this. This is sort of doing the rounds on Twitter and Facebook and that. They have a new 777 marked up in the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. It's that special Disney, is it Disney World or Disneyland? One of the two. There's special, as Virgin have done, but TAM have sort of like gone that extra mile. We believe that she was in Abu Dhabi. Never knew there was a paint shop in Abu Dhabi, but there you go, you learn something new every day. The TAM 777 was at Abu Dhabi for about 6 weeks, being painted up and doing the tour, having taxi shoot. Her transponder was on every now and then, so she's obviously been moved around the airfield, but she's now in circulation. She's coming into Heathrow tomorrow. Now, we'll come back to that in a little while, but we will be catching that TAM 777 in the Star Wars livery. They've painted the black tail. They've gone a little bit more sort of like edgy than just slapping a sticker on it like Virgin did. I mean, Virgin is great, don't get me wrong, but you know, TAM have actually painted up the entire 777 for that special livery. So that's really, obviously, really good to see. And we'll come back to that in a minute in terms of whether or not we're going to catch that tomorrow at London Heathrow. It's going to be a bit of a tight one, but we'll have a go. Most definitely, she is coming in to London Heathrow next Monday. And we're just checking the schedules and making sure that we'll be able to bring you that one. So Monday, be ready for a sort of like impromptu stream live on Big Jet TV to catch that TAM 777 Star Wars 777 coming in. Okay, right. Now, I know I've been talking about this, we've been talking about this, and it's actually a channel member from quite some time ago, and we have talked briefly on it. Now, we've talked about aircraft recognition. Now, this is something that I want to do as a standalone show, but I want to just sort of like, you know, get you guys in the mood for it. Obviously, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a piece on the van, on location. This is all going to be post-production. It won't be live, so that we can sort of mix in footage as well as what I'm describing. So let's just take, for example, these two beauties here, A330 200 variant and the 777-200 variant. Now, Paul from ARD Models, that's where we get them from. Well, he's just loaned us these for tonight. They're going back. But just so long as you guys are aware, if you join up with ARD, if you give them £10 a year, right? £10 a year, you get 10% discount on all your models. So let's just say, for instance, if you buy this one, it's about 90 quid. This one's about 95. So you buy either of those, you've kind of you've saved your, you've already made back what you've given for your annual subscription. But what's quite funny, Paul was saying. There's a saying in the industry which is NET, N-E-T, so nose, engines and tail. But I said, hold on a minute, Paul, what about the wings? Because obviously the wings are quite important, you know, with winglets and stuff like that. So maybe that was an old saying, so we've changed it to NEWT, not net, but NEWT. Nose, engines, wings and tail. Yeah, you with me? But anyway, so what we will be describing is with the differences between the A330 and the 777, you know, the 737 versus the A320, you know, the single aisle stuff, the heavy stuff. But really, there are only a few of these that you need to get your variants on, because obviously 767 is now gone. Although we are hearing today that apparently Boeing, and I'm a little bit shocked to hear this, is because it's kind of what they did with the 737 with the MAX. I am hearing that there apparently on the drawing board is a revised version of a 767 with a new engine on it, a new engine option, which is a little bit, you know, worrying, because obviously that's kind of what they did with the 737. They took an old airframe, put a new engine on it, and it sort of had those problems, the aerodynamic problems, and so you need to be a little bit careful if you're going to put a Gen X engine on a 767. Will it handle it? You know, maybe build a new wing this time, folks. Yeah, think about that. But anyway, the 330, for example, as a head-on, you know, when she comes in with a big angle like that, she's got a drooping undercarriage. They droop forward like that. You know, you've got your winglets, of course. The engines are far smaller. The nose is sort of similar, a little bit more pointy on there. In terms of the tail, very difficult to tell, you know, in terms of the tail from side on, from a distance. But if you're looking at the tail from a distance, looking at the aircraft, you've already seen what it is anyway, because you can see the size of these enormous engines, especially on the ER where you get the 115B, the big GEs on the 777 extended range. And of course you've got the winglets on the wing of the 330. 330 will come with two engine options as well. Of course, the CF6 and the Trent 7. And of course, you get the Rolls-Royce option on these as well, but they're more or less the same size. But head-on, they're sort of the same sort of size in terms of the engines. Thought mine that. But if you look at the engines, I say they're not, you can see they're slightly bigger anyway. The fan casing is that much bigger because it's much more sort of like, you know, uprated engine. Anyway, that's something that we're going to be doing, not live, but on the van as a little piece for the boys and girls who kind of like want to know more about the aircraft and the type of recognition. You notice I've got the radio here, folks. We don't have the radio playing in the UK. It is illegal, but we did have it in the US, and that is legal. So next time we're out in the US, we're going to take the radio with us. I'll be honest with you, and Scotty, thanks a lot for bringing a radio as well. Scotty out there with Brenda brought the radio along, and we had a great time with that. But you know, one of the days it did give that sort of like, you know, tower clear, pilot, or tower sort of like all crackly and pilot clear, and it becomes a little bit sort of like, you know, annoying after a while. So unless you've got a clear from both ends, you know, it can become a little bit annoying for the viewer at least. But anyway, Radio World, folks, Radio World. I know we used to look after those boys at Radio World, and I have to say, we're still really happy with them and their equipment that they sell. There really is, to be honest with you, in terms of professionals and the guys who know what they're talking about, Radio World is the best place to head for. And they'll tune your radio in as well. Because I tell you what, I'm not the best at this kind of stuff, and you do need to really know what you're doing when you're tuning these things in. And the great thing with Radio World is they just plug it in and they'll tune it for you for a tenner or something like that. Maybe even, I think this might even still be running it with the Big Jet TV, because I've had a lot of people come up to me who've got that Uniden 125 XLT and said, mate, I bought this because I bought it because you said it on Big Jet TV. So, you know, it still works, and real happy with that. So, yeah, make sure that if you do want to get yourself a radio, it's legal. You can listen to it yourself. It's, you know, you can buy it and listen to it yourself, but it's just not legal to broadcast it. So that's why you've got to be a little bit careful. And of course, the situation with us is that if we're standing in an environment where there's a lot of plane spots around and there's a radio playing in the background, hey, what can we do? You know, it's just one of those things we can't help. If somebody else is listening to it, you can't tell it, oi, turn your radio off, son. You know, it's a little bit rude. So there you go. Right, so, yes, of course, we were talking about the international shows that we're looking at. And of course, we now have quite an extensive international schedule that we're looking at literally over the upcoming months. If you remember, we talked about Anchorage. That's most definitely on the cards. We've been welcomed out in Anchorage anytime we want to go. Of course, what's important is that we get there at the right time of year, because otherwise the nights are like all night, you know, the days are like dark. So, you know, I think mid-November is the latest we can go in order to sort of like catch it right. Guangzhou, of course, in China. That's what we're looking at next on the cards. That and Seattle, of course. Memphis, Tennessee. That's a big freighter hub as well. Miami. There's 4 spots in Miami apparently. Of course, like we said, Seattle. And of course, Flyboy 31, and of course, Mike, out there in LA. He's already offered to escort us up there, which is great on our behalf. You know, thank you so much, Mike. We really thank you for that, and we look forward to coming out there and spending some time out there in Seattle, because it's a beautiful part of the country. Of course, it's a little bit more of a European climate up there in Seattle, and of course, that's where the Boeing plant is, and that's where we will be heading. Australia, guys, really, I know all you Aussies are dying for us to come out there, and of course we want to come out there, but it's not like jumping on a plane to Italy or southern France. It's a long, long way. Not that that's a problem. It just means that if we come out there, we want to spend as much time out there as we can and visit as many airfields as we can, because we want to look after everyone. And if that is the case, then it might have to be that we do a separate trip out to New Zealand or one or the other. But logistically, it's going to be quite a difficult one to plan. But we'll get there in the end. Of course, Malaysia and Dallas-Fort Worth. Thailand is something that we're obviously looking at as well. So that's sort of on the cards, so you guys get an idea of what we're doing. Right, okay. So what are we doing this weekend then, God bless you? We're going to Manchester tomorrow morning. Now, a lot of you people are used to Manchester. You know what the score is there. We've got a couple of positions that we go there. Well, 3 actually. We go either to the airport pub. All depends on the weather, the wind direction, and so on and so forth. But when the wind is in the I think it's a southwesterly tomorrow, if that's the case, then normally what we do is we head to the spool up point on runway 23 left, which is just absolutely fantastic. Jilly, do we have that piece ready to run on the okay, guys, check this out. Now this is who was it? Ruby Tuesday, was it? Oh no, that was it. Yeah. Check this out. Sorry, we were looking over a load of different files, but this is a good one, folks. And a lot of you will remember, but the MD82 Balkan Holidays. You remember that? I think it's unmarked. Is it unmarked, or it's got something on it? Okay, ALK Airlines, ALK, I think. But yeah, it's a Bulgarian charter company. But anyway, it is absolutely immense. I mean, this kind of gives you an idea of what it used to be like back in the old days. Can you imagine at this point sitting there with a 707 or a DC-8 going out, or a DC-10? I don't know if that runway was actually there back in those days. I think there might be a new runway. I think it might just be in the one runway back then, but I'm not sure. I'm sure a load of people are piling in right now. It wasn't there when it was but okay, fair enough. But this is just fantastic. It gives you a little idea of what they used to sound like back in the day. This is an MD82 going out of runway 23 left at Manchester, and this is what you're going to get tomorrow watching Big Jet TV. Here we go. Run it, Julie.
Bulgarian registered, Andy telling us. I've got a 747 making his way out now. That's a proper old girl, this is. Here we go. That is just fantastic. That was so flipping.
Okay, how about that then, folks? I hope you turned that up nice and loud and pissed the neighbours off. But anyway, there you go. Listen, just a quick one. Mark Farron, thanks for mentioning that. Just been told that you have mentioned, of course, disappointingly, one of the big things that we're going to miss tomorrow is, of course, Thomas Cook. It's going to be a sad day in terms of that. They're 330s. We used to see them coming out, bang, bang, bang. But we're going to miss that tomorrow. There'll be an empty space there, and we welcome any ex-Thomas Cook employees to come in, and we'll give you some love, folks. But hopefully, as time goes by, those guys and girls will find new jobs. I'm sure the air crew will. There's sort of like wet lease companies. There's a lot of lease companies out there looking for crew, both pilots and of course the cabin crew. And of course you've got to think of, as well as that, you've got to think of the maintenance crews, all those guys, and the people who worked in the shops. I know that they've sort of like, you know, taken care of that whole thing in terms of the shop staff now. But I just hope, for your sakes, that you all get something going, especially before Christmas, because that's going to be a hard time otherwise. But we hope that all works out for you guys. So I think that is about it, folks. We will see you tomorrow morning, bright and early, bright and early tomorrow morning at Manchester. We're going to be at the spool up point, the roll on point where they come across. We track them from over where they've parked up. When they push back, taxi over. And of course, we've got the aircraft coming in as well on the right-hand runway. Expecting half decent conditions there as well, and we're looking at cloud and sun at the moment, so probably about the only place in the country where we're going to see that. This is why we chose Manchester, and of course we love it every time we go there. Early doors for me, 4 o'clock. I'll be leaving here up at 3 a.m. so I'm off to bed. See ya. No, I'm only joking. So we'll see you tomorrow morning, folks. Of course, we'll give you that 20 minutes of Freeview as we normally do, with about 5 minutes of setup. Other than that, we'll keep going right the way through with our channel members, our crew members. And also, bear in mind, this is probably the last time that we're going to be at Manchester. Oh, actually, no, we're not. We're going to do that special, aren't we, at the end of the month? Isn't that special at the end of the month with that fella? After the Halloween howl, yeah, we're doing the Halloween howl at the end of the month, folks. And the day after, on my way back, there's a chap who's one of our crew members who's going out in Manchester. It might as well just 7 a.m. folks. We're looking at 7 a.m. is the start point tomorrow morning. Set your alarms or your notifications. Get you ready with your notifications. But just be ready, sort of like you might want to sort of get up about 1:45 so you can get yourself a cup of tea, nip down the road to McDonald's, get yourself a coffee, whatever it is you want to do. Feed the cats, take the dog out for a walk, get yourself settled in, put your feet up and watch 2 hours of aviation. Of course, there's no Formula One tomorrow, of course, because it's all been cancelled because of the typhoon. And so you can enjoy your aviation fix. Yeah, all been delayed, so Formula One qualifying and the race. Not often that happens. I think it's the second time this has happened in many, many years. Anyway, and to the fella who pulled up beside me near ARD today, to say hello. Hello, mate, how you doing? And the builders from the other day who said, hey, pulling up next to me. But it's great, man. It's great to see you guys. Anyone who says to me, you're more than welcome. Don't feel shy, folks, by the way. If you're new to Big Jet TV and you're on the chat, I love to chat. That's what it's all about. Obviously, let's talk about planes. Let's talk about aviation. If you've got any questions about anything about aviation, please don't feel shy and make sure you come in. I'll look after you. I'll cradle you in my arms and make sure you're looked after, and we'll have a great chat together. So look after yourselves. Have a great evening. Drink responsibly. Be good to the animals, of course. And we'll see you tomorrow morning, bright and early. GP? Are you going to run titles? Okay, doesn't matter. No, we'll just cut. See you later, folks. All the best.